Welcome to the One Gang Worldwide podcast, your ultimate ride into the world of motorcycles. Visit cyclesworldwide.com where we offer a completely free marketplace for everything motorcycles. Join our One Gang community where you can connect, share info, and swap stories with riders from all over the world. Join for free at cyclesworldwide.com and be a part of the One Gang community right now.
On today's episode of the One Gang Worldwide podcast, we have the privilege of speaking with the man who started it all, Woody Woodruff, the driving force behind the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, one of the largest and most celebrated motorcycle gatherings in the world. Today, Woody will take us through the history of the Sturgis Rally, share behind-the-scenes insights into organizing such a monumental event, and discuss the cultural impact it's had on the motorcycle community worldwide. So let's ride in the world of Sturgis and discover the stories and planning that fuel this legendary event with Woody, right here on the One Gang podcast.
I remember this as music quote. He says, well, there seems to be a certain ambiance here that doesn't exist anywhere else. And I thought, damn it, that's a pretty cool little statement, right?
Hey, One Gang, if you enjoy the podcast, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can turn notifications on to hear when new episodes are dropped, too. Any of your engagement supports the show and helps us book great guests and keeps us going. If you or a friend would make a great guest, hit us up at cyclesworldwide.com or drop a comment. Thank you guys so much.
One Gang Worldwide podcast, brought to you by Keyboard Motorcycle Shipping. Since 1978, Keyboard Motorcycle Shipping has been the trusted name in transporting motorcycles safely across the country. With custom designed pallets and air ride trailers, your bike is secure and protected every step of the way. By choosing Keyboard Motorcycle Shipping, you're supporting a dedicated small business that prioritizes quality and customer satisfaction. Ship with a peace of mind, knowing your motorcycle is in expert hands.
Please visit shippingmymotorcycle.com. That's shippingmymotorcycle.com. And now, back to our show.
Welcome, One Gang. We got an incredible show here today, man. This is Rod Woodruff, was president and CEO of Sturgis Buffalo Chip, one of the historians of the motorcycle world, man. We're excited to have you on the show, and thank you for taking the time to come on.
Well, pleased to do it. So it's good to be here.
We're happy to have you, Rod. Let's start at the beginning. So where did you grow up, and what kind of passions did you have as a kid? What was your childhood like?
Well, that's a good question. My childhood was extended quite a little bit, as it turns out. You wouldn't guess. I was born in rural South Dakota on a farm that, my grandparents had the farm. It was part of a dowry for when they got married. Their relatives gave them, farm. And so started school in a country school. They rode a horse to school and we started off.
No kidding. Cool.
Well, one room, one teacher, 8 grades, right?
Right.
I think, but I don't know. I think there were 18 people, 18 kids in the school. And so, that was the first, that was the beginning, right? And then it didn't last very long because we had some issues and moved to town, right? So we moved to a little town in the middle of South Dakota, and I was finished actually the first grade, so didn't finish the whole year at the country school, and moved to town, lived there for till about the 8th grade, and maybe the 7th, I forget which, but then my father died, and so kind of bounced around a little bit after that. And so
were you a pretty athletic kid? Were you playing sports and doing all that stuff, or what were your interests at that time?
You know what? I played baseball and ice skating, right? And so when I was 13, we had a little sickness that maybe was diagnosed as polio, and we'd just the Salk vaccine was still new, and we were in the process of getting WAP, but I recovered, like some of my friends that they had serious polio issues. So anyway, that just changed things. It was gradually bounced around, finished high school, had a couple of different places, living with different relatives, moved that on to South Dakota for my senior year. And then went to, started college and kind of had a little incident with an automobile wreck, and then went to the military and the Air Force, and let's see, probably 1965, and
All right.
with the Air Force, working in an office. I don't, not a big deal. I wasn't a pilot or anything. It's 18 years old.
Right.
So spent some time in there. Got out. We Johnson decided that Vietnam was a big mistake, and canceled out in '69. Moved. Then I was married. Had a daughter, and moved to Los Angeles because that's
Wow.
where
Okay.
everybody went, right?
Right.
They had some heroes in California on the beach, that sort of stuff. And,
Culture shock coming from such a small place.
well, it was what I wanted to do, of course. And there was a lot going on in the LA area, sure, and whatever. But I got a job, was an accountant on there, lived in Orange, pretty close to Disneyland. So my 3-year-old daughter, myself, spent quite a little bit of time in Disneyland. That was fun. I started putting was that. It's a small world, right? And yeah, so then moved to San Francisco, just because it seemed to be a little bit more to my leanings, right? And so worked as an accountant there, spent some time at the ballroom and listening to some concerts and hanging out around with the Grateful Dead, going from Winterland to the park and that sort of thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So so you do that kind of stuff. We'll call that culture, right?
Absolutely.
When, yeah. And so,
When you were young, Rob, were there any signs, like, were you interested already in motorcycles or in that world at all? Or were there any signs that one day you would be building Buffalo Chip?
geez, how could we forget about that, huh?
Right.
Well, part of the deal, I have trouble remembering where that motorcycle thing started from, but I was driving my parents nuts. First, I learned to read before I went to school, and out in the country when we didn't have a phone, we didn't have, the electricity was a little different, and we didn't really have running water. So, yeah, it sounds pretty foreign to people these days.
No doubt
but,
about
sure,
that. Right.
yeah.
But it was just the way things were. I remember when the phones got installed, my grandmother, lived a few miles from us, and she had 29 people on their party line. Well, every time they visit her, she had to standing by the wall with the wall, open up, a speaker sticking out of
That's
the wall.
so funny.
Fun stuff. But anyway, somewhere along the line, must have been in a comic book. I got just driving my parents crazy about a motorcycle, so they ended up getting me my first motorcycle. I still have it. It's bright gold plastic. Might have been right after they invented plastic, right? I don't know. And the wheels that turned and the handlebars.
Nice.
Turned, and so that was my motorcycle.
That's cool.
So
That's great.
so then when we got to town, motorcycles weren't that big of a deal. But actually, when I started hanging out down at the pool, when I was probably in the 4th or 5th grade, had some World War II vets that were around, and they were good influences, right? And there there was a motorcycle or two around in motorcycle stories, but I didn't read any of them or anything. But they were there, and so I didn't get my first motorcycle until I was actually probably a senior in high school. I was 16, I think, 17. No, I was 17.
You remember your
Well,
first bike?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, 58 Triumph Bonneville.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah. It, I borrowed the money from my girlfriend's father to buy, right?
Well, hey.
Did your parents know, or they would have kicked your butt?
Well, like I said, my father had passed away by then, so I was just kind of drifted on my own. And
Got it.
the reason my girlfriend's father was so helpful was that he owned a liquor store, an old gambling joint downtown, and the old thing from the days of the Depression. And I pretty much lived there at the Fool Hall. So
Yeah.
That's how it all
Well-
started, huh?
well, that's just you go. You go. I have no explanation for
That's
it.
all
Right?
right. That's all right. Hey, listen.
Well,
So you moved out. You moved out to California. You said you were doing some work in the accounting firm and doing that stuff. But before you became the face of one of the biggest bike rallies in the world, you were also a practicing attorney. How did you transition from the accounting world to the attorney world, and then you started your own firm? Correct?
yeah. So that's just another example of just living life without really having too much direction. When I got out of the service, like I said, went to California, and when I got to San Francisco, I had a couple of people that I admired. One of them was a lawyer in Berkeley that I can't remember his name, frankly, but just the idea that he just looked to me like he was changing the world. And the other one was Mayor Alioto, who basically doing the same thing with a better suit, right?
Right.
So, somewhere along there, I just decided, if I was going to make some money and change the world, I'd maybe could do that as a lawyer. And so I thought, California, even then, you had to stand in line to do anything. So I figured I could go back to South Dakota and still be a South Dakotan. So I come back to South Dakota, went to business college because I'd picked up college classes while I was in the Air Force. And so I had a couple years of credits under my belt. And, did business school, got done with that, went to law school at South Dakota, the University of South Dakota, Vermillion. And then just was on my way back to San Francisco. I stopped by the Black Hills, and I thought, damn, this is nice, because part of that growing up thing was they also invented television. And I remember when television came around, they put up the very first TV tower and started broadcasting. I was delivering papers for a little extra income. And I'd peek in windows. There'd be some people that have televisions, not very many people. And as I was going around at 5 o'clock at night, right, different televisions, I could see through the window, right? Big Wild Bill Whitacock and the Little Ranger, right?
Yeah.
Art TV, right?
It's crazy the
So-
things you remember, huh?
Well, you know what? All that stuff is influential because, and then Disney started with their programs, and we watched those events when we got television ourselves, and so I watched Disney and I watched those old Western shows, and those were all more morality plays.
Of course,
Basically,
of
looking
course.
back at it now, it's quite a little different from what gets put on there today. And so, I had this cowboy kind of stuff. I like wide open spaces, and really became attracted to the mountains. And so when I got out of the service and got out of law school, headed back to LA, I just, when I got to the Black Hills, I thought, damn, this is really nice. And I'll maybe just stick around here for a while. So then I spent some time living on a little ranch up there, about 7,000 acres, and commuted back and forth to a town of Belfouche, which is the western town, cow town. The hole in the gang did their first bag job there, right? Calamity Dane was just down the street.
Right,
it was my
right.
people.
Heck
It is good luck.
yeah.
So, so anyway, so I just stuck out here, and part of what I did when I was in high school to kind of support myself was to throw cake parties and shoot pool, right? And so when I heard about the motorcycle rally, which was just an accident, I we had no idea it wasn't a very big deal. It's what it amounts to. It was pretty small. And I was practicing law.
Was it mainly locals at that time? Just locals from the Dakotas, or did you have people coming from different places?
I don't think it was mostly locals. I think, when it started off, it was invitation. Some guy trying, Pappy Oil, trying to sell more motorcycles and inviting people around that were his customers to come and have a good time and maybe upgrade, right? Who knows? He's a salesman making some sales in a dealership. And so we just, when the town decided that there was too many people and they wanted to get rid of the rally and keep anybody on two wheels from coming into town, just seemed like it was a perfectly good time to throw a party out in the country on a little cake party.
Nice.
And so, there's a lot of, I tell people, I said, they ask you, how'd you come up with the idea? Well, really, just a natural outgrowth of throwing cake parties in high school. Right? So there's a lot of truth to that. And so that was it. So we just looked around for a piece of property that would work, and then we could, you guys didn't have any money. And so borrowed some land, found some land, borrowed some land that we could use for a party, and threw a party, and people came, had a good time. And next year came back and did it again and brought some of their friends, right?
That's cool, man. That's cool.
That's really good. In a nutshell, that's the whole story. Okay, everything else, okay, now we got so many people, you got to start being, of course, being, a little old lady at the courthouse told me, hey, you got to have water out there. So, okay, so we did figure out how to drill a well, right?
Yeah.
Like just one thing after another like that until here we are today that, much different kind of a party, right? And we're still just here to throw the best party any place.
That's right.
Just let people just experience it and feel.
Yeah.
Cool. It's the kind of freedom you have back when you're in high school and you don't know any better about anything, right?
That's
just
right.
having a good time. So it found that a lot of people remember those days, and when their own kids get out on, get to the point where they can be left alone or have moved from home, their parents want to get out and kind of relive some of those fun times that they dreamed about and maybe actually experienced when they were in, high school.
Yeah. So what were those first few years like compared, I guess, how far along did it get? What was it like in the early days? And then at what point were you kind of like, wow, whoa, okay, this is getting big?
Well, it got bigger every year. But I mean, we started off, I tell people there were like 20 people here, but that's a reverse exaggeration. We probably had a couple hundred people here. And, we had Johnny Paycheck and some other folks out for, and it just turned out to be a party. And really about the third or fourth year, we had enough attention that, people started thinking we stole the whole rally, right?
Right.
Huh.
We basically, it was we'd throw a bonfire together out in front of a temporary stage that we'd put up, and nothing like the professional stages you see anywhere. I mean, just a platform, right? And, we put together a bunch of wood and set it on fire, and people be around the bonfire and telling stories, drinking beer, right? Having a perfectly good time. And the newspaper put that on the front page. And the next day, we had a line of locals going farther than I know, trying to get in here, right? And so for us, that was really the kickoff in a big way there. The holy crap.
Yeah.
But still, I was practicing law, and town was 35 miles away. And so, I'd come over on Monday usually, and we'd open the gate and the fences and chase the cows out, and have people show up for the rally. Well, that was still kind of the deal. But in 1990, I came out. I had about 2 people out here working, getting ready for the rally. And in 1990, I come out about 3 weeks before the rally, and there were already people set up in teepees.
Wow.
Come early, and I've been told, for a year, 2 years by people that knew what the world was really like, saying, hey, you don't have a freaking clue what's going to happen to you for the 50th Andy, right? And I'd say, just to prove the point, I'd say, what do you mean? I got the point 3 weeks before the rally, because there were already more people there than we probably had for, some folks. Wow. And they just beat me back to the rally. So we had to gear up real rapidly, for that.
Right.
And so we started building big time. We had a great lineup for music and stuff by then as well. So
Rod, can I ask you a quick question, just for a quick interruption? Just, hey, because you had mentioned that the early days at the Buffalo Chip was just basically started as a keg party. As you progressed and all this stuff, are you at this point by yourself in regards to or are you at this point building with friends, and then somebody's taking care of the money, somebody's security, all that stuff? Or was it just basically wide open, man, like the Wild Wild West?
Oh, all those stories about the Wild Wild West never really had much truth to them in the first place.
Right.
And probably the same thing with that. So, it was a one-man operation.
One-man operation. Holy smokes.
And I didn't know squat about what I was doing. So that's a real history of the whole deal, right?
So you had to order all the kegs. So you already knew, going into year 2, how many kegs you were going to order at this point in time. Did you already bring in music, or people were just chilling and partying without music?
Oh, no, we brought in music from the get-go.
Local bands coming out and jamming?
We had a lot of local bands, but like I said, even on the first deal, we had Johnny Paycheck and some other folks that some of them showed up and some of them didn't, right?
Gotcha.
So, but actually what happened was probably in the late, our first event was in 82, and probably in the mid to late 80s, somewhere right in there around 87 probably, some folks in Nashville had heard about us, and they had the impression that we were something special going on here. And I think now looking back, they were studio musicians that had heard about us, and they rented their own buses and bussed out in groups from Nashville, and just jammed. And one of the biggest little deals for me really was one of my personal heroes, Lloyd Axton, showed up that way, right? He shows up with a motor coach, and all around the top of the motor coach, he's got a tray on both sides, and he just come up from a friend's place in Mississippi, and so he had moonshine all the way around
That's awesome.
4 jars of moonshine.
Wow.
So our security guy was a friend of mine who lived on a ranch, 80, 90 miles north of here and didn't drive a car, but he's just a real cowboy kind of rancher. And so he rode down on horseback all our way and brought 2 pack animals with him for his supplies for while he was here, right?
So cool.
Danged if you wouldn't guess that he might make moonshine up there at his cabin, water walk cabin. And so he gets that out. And so he and I would have a little moonshine, party. Yeah. Port X been coming here. That was a big deal for me personally.
That's cool. That's
yeah,
amazing.
man had the magic voice. A heck of a writer. But anyway, I'm rambling now. So
No, it's okay. Keep rambling. We love it, man. This is incredible. The early days is amazing because,
while we got people showing up, one of the guys from Chicago, that no longer is the lead singer. He quit a long time ago, but he was out here. We're sitting around about 10 o'clock in the morning. He says, you know what miracles are, but he says, when I look at this place at 2 o'clock in the morning and I look at it at 10 o'clock in the morning, it's a freaking miracle what that cleanup crew involved.
Right. That's crazy.
Because there were an ample number of beer cans laying around.
I can imagine.
On the ground, right? Yep. So, so you start attracting folks that are curious about what's going on. So it was that curiosity that we had when we started that got around to the stars. And so they'd show up just to see what was going on, talk with us and everything. And while else sure continued. And then, it continued at different levels. We had Kid Rock first time in 2004. Yep. And he told everybody that he knew this place was just too friggin' cool, right? That's not a quote. I wasn't there when he told any of them, but, they start showing up. It starts getting easier to find entertainment, right? Because we have an audience here and just outstanding. The artists that play here always say, holy cow. The crowd here is just so different. The atmosphere here is so different. In 2038 special, did a live recording out here. And so, it seems like a long time ago in the world of technology and eons. They showed up with some buses that were just packed with all this equipment and stuff. I asked the producer, I said, please, what made you decide to do a live album recording here? And I remember this as music quote. He says, well, there seems to be a certain ambiance here that doesn't exist anywhere else. And I thought, damn it, that's a pretty cool little statement, right?
Yeah, man, for sure.
So that, and apparently that just word got out back in the 80s about that, and it just continued to go.
Rod, let me ask you this. When did you officially start calling it a motorcycle rally? Do you remember? Because in the beginning, because you probably had cars and RVs and motorcycles, right?
No,
it was just strictly bikes from day one?
Well, it's no longer strictly bikes by any stretch of the imagination, but at the beginning it was just bikes.
Just bikes.
Right. And then when the newspaper had a deal, we got cars coming from all of the local folks. And we didn't have a parking crew or a parking lot, so they parked on the roads around here for a good long ways. Then they parked out in the pasture. So,
Man.
Yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Rod, with your background in law, was there anything that you were uniquely prepared for or concerned about as far as legal hurdles or liability potentially?
No.
Sweet.
That's sweet. That straight to the point, man. That's funny. So you
That's
knew
awesome.
hey, listen, what kind of a lawyer were you? Like, what law were you practicing at that time, your office?
I lived here, didn't know a single soul, and really just opened an office, which is not something I'd recommend for anybody else to be doing again. But that's the way it was. So whatever kind of walked in the door for a new lawyer who had no experience and wanted to hire a guy like that, I did that. So I ended up doing a lot of criminal defense work. Did court appointments and stuff, and till felt like, oh, this is kind of like my forte here. So I did criminal defense work largely, and
So being a criminal lawyer, you got a chance to buddy up with all the police around town. So you had a little bit of a leeway into the party scene a lot.
actually it works just the opposite
It
of that.
did. No shit.
Yeah, they want, well, actually I had a pretty good fortune for always having innocent clients, and so yeah, I wasn't the favorite lawyer for
Got it.
law enforcement around here. So you're on the opposite side all the time, right?
Yep.
And so there's that, but we get along with everybody now, and everybody understands. Things are so different now.
Yeah.
And actually, when we started, everything was motorcycles. Whoever could get one running long enough to get here,
Right.
is kind of it. And now we got thousands of RVs with motorcycles inside in a pup, hanging off the back, in the back of the truck, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
So it's different. It's different. A lot of the same people. I mean, everything changes.
I gotcha.
But that's been a big change.
Rod, can you paint us a picture of what it was like back in the days? I mean, you went into a 600-acre, basically an entertainment complex. What was that like for you? I mean, like you started as a little scene, and then it's grown. Now you got this monster complex where you and your team are putting up stages and all this stuff. Take us, like the audience, a little bit into what goes into the planning of that stuff, like how you outsource the jobs, how you plan everything out for the huge events to the smaller bands, things like that. Can you give us a little insight into that?
Yeah, just not the same story that you think it is, right? Because you have to go back to the assumption, number one, have no money. Number two, don't know a damn thing about what I'm doing, right?
Right.
Don't have those relationships, and we're starting off from scratch. And, when we started, the city wanted to get motorcyclists to stay away. And after 3 or 4 years, they decided that, they'd kind of like those motorcycles to come back to town and not be out at the chip, right? So it turned out to be a real competitive, and still is a competitive thing. And we started a whole industry of folks that really want the older flow from the Buffalo chip, I think,
Right.
Favorite campgrounds and so on. But, so when we started off with borrowed land and no money, right? People just came, and it was just a party.
Right.
And so we wanted to keep it just a party, but we had to make some kind of improvements, right? And so, we had to get water. Okay. Next thing you know, you're going to have bathrooms, right? So you start that, and you figure it out any way you can. So our first showers, for example, we borrowed abandoned tank. We got it. I shouldn't say borrowed, but we got this abandoned 900-gallon tank. We set it on top of a little rise here, got a draw down below. We had a truck come in and fill it full of water, run a PVC pipe down the hill, and put a branch in it, a T on it, and drilled some holes in, and that was our shower.
Wow.
On the left side for men, right side for women, because women are always right?
That's awesome. That's
Oh,
awesome.
anyway, and so that's it. So then after, a passion, you find some folks who want to help out and are unemployed and, got time on their hands and can help out. So you build an outhouse, then you build a run. So you have to tear that down and build one someplace else. And then after a while, you try and, you get more people, you got to have more water. So you need a bigger well.
Right.
So it's just one step at a time. What we need, every year we have to make changes and improvements to cover it, provide a better service, and do it for more people, right? And so we started off small like that. like I said, we didn't have any money. I mean, my balance sheet looking back when we started this thing, I had a net worth of $14. That's
Wow.
0.400 net, right? So, over time, some of the folks, a lot of people helped us, and said, I'll pay you later after the rally if we make enough money to get you paid. And I had people that would do that, and we always got them paid. And they got paid, whether there was money that I had to put in from someplace else, and pay you a little bit later.
Right.
We always paid everybody, and so they would help me again this year with some of the growth, and that was critical. Just people helping. So I didn't go out and do a bunch of contracting, that kind of stuff. We had to do just what we thought we'd be able to pay for after the show.
Got it.
Well, so that's just a tremendous amount of luck and help from people, support.
Gotcha.
Both our customers and some of the business people around it just found it kind of entertaining to be helping us.
Yeah. So going back to the music briefly, you had, like you mentioned, Kid Rock, ZZ Top, all these crazy big bands. For you, what is your kind of memorable performance that sticks out to you? Do you have any?
And who was the most fun backstage that you had the best time with?
I'm always working during the rally, and I don't party backstage with the artists. I do spend a little bit of time with this and folks. But what I learned was that almost every one of these artists are professionals, and they're perfectionists at some point, and it's a totally different deal. The question you asked is probably the most commonly asked question, and I don't really have an answer to please anybody with it, because when artists come in, they'd never heard of South Dakota when they started. We had a bitch at the time just getting anybody to come here or stop in the first place. Nobody with a market in the entire state at the time. And so we were the first. And so they'd come in, but there'd no hotel rooms. We didn't have cabins. We didn't have any accommodations for them. We didn't have any food all the place back in the early days. And so they would come in their bus, and they had and same thing with some of the artists were in the same boat as me. People were making $1 million a show back in the 80s, right? It was down cheap. We actually had some of the stars show up with their bus and run out of fuel just up at the beginning. The gate. You had to tow them in the rest of the way and go get some fuel for it. So it was that kind of a thing. It was a shared experience in that respect. So it really is history. If I can get to thinking about it sometime, there's a lot of things like that. But the performances, for me to pick a favorite performance, there's some that stand out way beyond. But honestly, everybody there always has done their very best on the show, and there's just different folks. The guys from I'm terrible with names, but I want to pull one out.
That's okay.
But the guys from Boston, for example, and they did Aqualung, right? Both those guys, the runners that are giving them a ride back to the hotel that they found someplace or getting to the bus, they said, they were just giddy about the show. Said, my God, I've never done a better show than that. That's the best show we've ever done.
That's so awesome.
Again,
awesome.
It's the audience that makes it that way. And there's that's that ambiance that producer was talking about. That reputation got out there and went everywhere. But when you look at shows, the shows that people put on, the ones that stand out really with me personally is Kid Rock. A number of them. I love when he announced his candidacy for the presidency.
Yeah, man, of course.
What show the guy had. And Toby Keith. you couldn't find it. And then you got complete surprises. Snoop Dogg comes in,
Right.
and I mean, all right, well, if this is going to work or not, right? And it was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
What he's done, his manager, road tour manager, says, we thought this was going to be a risky show for us, but we'll come back anytime.
That's
right?
cool.
Wow.
And we get that from, everybody. They're not serious because they got about coming back anytime because they got a whole bunch of stuff they have that has to come together for anybody to go to South Dakota no matter what, right? So it's a challenge, but I just have to Kid Rock and Toby Keith are absolute standouts, but there's so many people that just did perfect friggin' shows. Great time out here, and the audience, loves them. It's cool to see, cool to experience.
It's got to be cool for you too, man.
It is.
Just coming from this young kid who just wanted to party to I mean, I can't even imagine, man. Hey, listen, let me ask you this, right? Like Sturgis, Sturgis and Buffalo Chip are so interconnected. I mean, but I imagine there's been some push and pull over the years, with possibly things getting a little wild and crazy because you have so many people. Talk a little bit about the relationship that's been developed over the years between the town and what you do.
I think what's happened is that everybody copies things that we do, and that includes the city. So the city, like I said before, the city became a competitor to us early on. That maybe has settled down. Beginning the thing, you have to remember too, back in the 80s, there was, you might not have been aware of this particularly, but I mean, our law enforcement people essentially decreed that everybody on two wheels was a career criminal.
Right.
They didn't want people on motorcycles coming here. And so we just take the other approach, right? You give some people someplace to go where they're welcome and everything, right?
That's
People
right.
will come, people will have fun, so we just emphasize freedom out here. We battled with the city forever, and they probably are getting along with the city real well right now. But we just always do our own thing, and our own thing is to throw the best party in the friggin' world
That's
for
right.
really people. We got great people coming out here. We just do that. So we got competition. Well, certainly the city's been in there, and they had the power of the government,
Of course.
but we're not in the city of Sturgis, and so everything is complicated. So it's complexity, right?
So you still have to go through those battles every year?
No, we haven't had. We have become a solution of sorts, right?
Right.
And so we don't necessarily have battles. We still have some folks that are around for a long time and probably just as soon see us not exist. But but I think the majority of people see that these are nice people and they contribute a lot to everybody around
That's right.
here.
Economically.
Change the economy phenomenally around here. And so, no, we get along real well. We work real well with the state. We work real well with the state tourism department, governor's office. We had Jelly roll out here last year, and he was so excited. He said, God, I've never gone any place where the governor picked me up at the airport, right? Well, they brought him out here, right? So I was that kind of thing. And so we had Jelly Roll here. We had Dana White here and Conor McGregor here this year for folks who just wanted to see what's going on again, right?
That's
And
cool,
Conor
man.
McGregor called up and said, we're going to do business with the Buffalo Chip. We're going to make this the biggest thing in the planet. Well, okay. It's, but you get excited because the other people.
That's
You
right.
feel the energy, and the energy is just phenomenal. When the crowd gets going and are having a good time, the energy is just more than people have experienced anyplace else, I think.
Yeah. So you mentioned freedom, and you've built more than a venue. You've built a community based off of freedom principles and camaraderie. And that you're segueing perfectly into my next question. How has that been maintained as so many more people have come through this event? Have you found that the growing number of people just helps amplify it, or have you noticed any challenges or difficulty in keeping the culture the way it's been?
Probably for 30 years, we finished the show. They say, damn, that was great. Now how are we going to do this better and bigger next year without screwing up whatever that ambiance is that exists here? I mean, honest to God, there's some magic here that we don't claim. We just try not to screw it up, right?
Yeah.
And our principle is you should have a good time. You don't need too many rules, and we don't have many rules, right? These people are well behaved. They come here, they make friends, and have a great time, go home with great memories, photographs, talk about it for years, and the next 1, 2, 3, or 5 years, they're going to come back. And that's really it. So, it continues to grow. It's a mystery to me how we haven't screwed it up. But
Hey guys, the show will be back in 1 minute right after a word from our sponsor.
Hey, One Gang, tired of feeling like your butt's taking more of a beating than your bike on those long rides? Introducing Butt Buffer, the ultimate solution to saddle soreness. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. These cushions are made from medical-grade viscoelastic polymer, scientifically crafted to eliminate pressure points and keep your circulation flowing. No more numb nuts or numb butts. And here's the best part. Butt Buffer cushions are made right here in the U.S. for the last 30 years. From Harleys to Hondas, we've got a cushion to fit your ride perfectly. Plus, with styles ranging from sleek pebble polymer to luxurious sheepskin, there's a Butt Buffer for every rider's style. Get your Butt Buffer today at buttbuffer.com. That's buttbuffer.com. Your butt will thank you, and you'll ride longer and happier. We've got your butt covered.
What are those conversations like when you mentioned how are we going to do this bigger and better next year? What are you guys throwing stuff at the wall, or is there ever anything that comes from those conversations, or are they just kind of the hypotheticals?
Yeah, we're a very dedicated core crew here. So we have about 17 full-time employees that, have this place in their heart, right?
Right.
And so, everybody does the best job they can. They started right out, and that well, I told you we had people who were unemployed that come out and wanted to help, and some of those people knew how to do things just really, really well. Didn't have any real formal education, but they learned the work ethic by actually doing stuff, right? So, when we built a stage, we built a stage out of scrap material from a bridge that Teddy Roosevelt had built down at the Belfouche River. And was this guy that didn't have a high school education, put the whole thing together, did every weld on the stage.
Dang.
And when the tour manager came back next year for Leonard Skinner, he looks up at the stage and the roof and he says, "How come so much overkill?" I said, "Because I didn't ever want to have to talk about not having a good stage again, right?"
Yeah.
We had gotten the
So
blueprints
cool.
from an engineering company that had built one of those stages at the one of the stadiums. And, we've been through every government approval process that there was. So we just got their blueprints and copied it, but just used old oil field and bridge parts to cut it to nowhere, right? So, it's still standing and it doesn't wiggle, right?
Yeah,
For sure.
that's awesome.
Hey, Rod, obviously the evolution of the biker culture and the Sturgis Rally has changed and shifted a lot over the last few decades. How have you seen the kind of like the community evolve, and how has Buffalo Chip been able to keep up with the pace of changes in the industry? Because, motorcyclists were considered at one time in the beginning stages, even you were saying like the police didn't want them in the town because they always probably thought they were bad 1%ers, all that stuff. And now, you know, you have your lawyers and you have your doctors and you have all these people on bikes coming to your rally. Well, what's been the biggest thing as far as kind of evolving with this change in the evolution of the biker community?
Well, you know, in the very first place, we decided that we had to be instrumental in changing that attitude, right? And how do you communicate that to folks? And it became just trite and just kind of irritated people to be talking about, oh, you got all these doctors and lawyers on motorcycles. Well, okay, maybe you got a percentage of them,
Right,
but
right.
truth be known, most people on motorcycles are just plain people,
That's right.
and the doctors and lawyers that are on motorcycles are on it because they're just people too, right?
That's right.
They just love the feeling, the freedom, and they just want to go around some other people. So they go someplace where they can see more motorcycles, where they can meet more people, just have a little chit chat, and don't have any of that other nonsense. And then how do you communicate, that to the public? You know, you get the media to switch a little bit, and we got the media was sympathetic to us after a period of time, and we started getting a little bit more acceptance from some of the charities, and give people opportunities to give to charities, and chose the charities well, so that again, people were aware of the results of the gifts that these folks leave the people of this area,
Right.
in charitable contributions. And now we've been here 40 years. So it didn't happen overnight. It was one of those things that just happened day by day. And, and nobody's making those movies anymore where everybody on a motorcycle is a bloodthirsty,
criminal. Yeah.
So, no, there was that all those movies that affects people. I can't believe how a friend of mine's got all these movie posters around his shop, of all these terrible bike shows, right? We bury those things and put them behind us.
I know, man.
It never has been that way. I remember one time, the very last people on the chair down by the creek there, a nice little shaded spot under the trees, warm tent. The only people left on the chip, and I'd go over to the tent, but it was abandoned, but the couple was still there. Get to talking with him, and he was from New York and owned a chain of about 50 banks.
No kidding. Damn.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, all of those people have been here, and so then but it's that image of the biker, and get away from those movies. Those
I've
movies.
always said the same. Hollywood
Those
has
movies-
destroyed the motorcycle industry.
So we brought Pee Wee Herman in 2010 and put him as a lead on one of our charities rides, and got him all dressed up with a Captain America helmet.
Nice.
He had a bicycle instead of a motorcycle, right? So we started the ride, then came back and we did some stuff. But we had 12 minutes on the Jay Leno show. Live.
Yeah.
Funny or Die, still one of the funniest friggin' 15 minutes I've ever watched anything happen. And it's just stuff like that over the years. You do stuff out of the box just to have fun. We had the largest tequila dance in the world, right? We built a little zip line, sort of Pee Wee Herman could zip line down from the hilltop to the stage. He gets off the little Pee Wee platform, and gets down there with the bikini girls and everybody in the creek to do a little tequila dance, right?
Awesome.
So,
Yes.
So, they do crazy stuff like that. It's just not what there was people that wanted to think everybody's a demon,
Right.
if they have a motorcycle. That's pretty much a thing of the past. But I don't think that's much of a factor. There are still those people that, they'll come out and say, "Oh God, it's so nice here," right? When they just expected, one of those old movie things, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
well, anyway, we just press on, but the challenges are always the same. You always need to let the public know that you're having a party and it's just a bunch of nice people and nothing but a good time.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, Rod, you mentioned charity, and outside of improving the perception of the culture, what else inspired you to get onto that philanthropic journey and focus on giving back? And also, if you can go into some of the organizations like All Kids Bike and the other things that you've done over the years.
Oh, there are other people to like the All Kids Bike. You talked about that. I mean, that's a nice mission because it's just like we talked about earlier. Kids today don't really like to get their hands dirty
Right.
and don't know about industrial technology and the ability to do stuff. Everybody wants to go to college and get a degree in something or get $100,000 for
And
doing
forget
nothing.
the
but
trades.
Nobody knows how to do anything anymore, right? But actually, I think the trades are turning around and we're gonna see a big switch of that. I think, and that
Yeah.
we kind of had a little bit of a part of that too. We had a program with the local high schools to teach kids how to build a motorcycle, right, and how to do customization. So we did that for a few years before the teachers that were willing to do it retired or got their jobs and transferred away, right? But getting back to your question, I'm just about have to ask you that you repeated again because I maybe I got sidetracked with building bikes.
Yeah, mainly just what it has inspired you to take the philanthropic journey.
Yeah, I don't claim to have a philanthropic bent particularly. It's it's a good thing to do. And it's not me, it's the people that are here that are giving, but it's the people that are
Gotcha.
here that are making the impression. All we do is give them the opportunity to do that. And
Yeah.
they're the ones that are giving them. So I don't want to
Here's another way of asking that, Rod. How has this, so going from a lawyer wanting to throw a field party to becoming the lead of a global event, how has this entire journey changed you, and what are your key takeaways from it?
I quit practicing law finally because it got to be the part where it had to be treated like a business and be seriously built like a business, right? And so there was no longer an in between, and it needed full attention. So and part of that too was as a criminal defense attorney, you don't necessarily make a lot of friends with your clients and stuff. You're in this business, it's that old Elvis Presley song. I got neighbors, I got friends just about everywhere the rainbow ends. It's a completely different thing. So this is a beautiful series of relationships that they have with this thing. So our mission is to do the best we can for everybody that comes out here. And I get away from there's no way to really say it. Philanthropic about anything. But
Right.
and you talk about the All Kids Bikes program, for example. Fewer and fewer people are riding bicycles and they're kids, right? When I was a kid, I got I got some clothespins and I'll put the cards on the wheels and I'll move
That's
all
we do.
around town, and I'd ride 3 or 4 miles out of
That's
town
right.
with my fishing pole, go fishing and come back with a bag full of fish, right?
Yep, same.
Did that all the time. My parents never had to worry about maybe a kidnapped or anything like that. And my friends were all the same way. We were able to just come and go freely. And that bicycle was transportation. But they got me out there. I mean, I remember I had to sell 3 sheep in order to be able to pay for that Schwinn.
3
And,
sheep?
Yep, 3 sheep.
Three
What's
sheep
that?
for a twin. Yes.
That's funny.
Well, I was still fresh from the farm, right?
Yeah, for
And
sure.
so anyway, and so if you didn't ride a bicycle, how do you start riding a motorcycle, right? And the whole thing is to get that confidence to where you can get the balance. So we've given those bikes away to different schools, and you go in, you make a presentation to everybody, and the kids have no idea what's going on. they get on those little Strider bikes, just right away, and you just watch the expression on their face. And before 20 minutes goes by, they're racing, right? I mean, not only
Yeah.
really confident they could be on two wheels, they're racing each other and they're giggling and having contests, right? Those
Yeah.
guys are more likely to get motorcycles.
That's right.
Right?
Absolutely.
You know, as simple as that. So that's why that's such a important deal. The all kids bike. That's huge.
It is huge.
And so, yeah. And so there's them. Otherwise, you know, there's just so many causes that are real where people are in need, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, and you have them in your own community. So you like to give things, you know, like that away. And so
Yeah.
our focus for that being Special Olympics is my favorite charity. And
Awesome.
and really, I tell you why I brag about this. When we were given money to a foster home, where when the police had to take kids away, there was a foster home they could take them to, and they would take care of them. This special built out in the hills, and
Oh, cool.
so
Wow.
I mean, and when we announced that Pee Wee Herman was coming, they decided they were not going to accept any money from us anymore, right?
Is it because
so-
when he got caught doing stuff? Is that what it was?
Oh, this was years later, but still, yeah, they were just they wouldn't take any money from us no matter what, right?
Oh.
And so
Yeah.
that was disappointing. And but it was also, they didn't tell us until about 2.5 to 3 weeks before the rally. So I'd been telling
couldn't
folks we
make
were going to be
adjustments.
making this contribution for a long
Yeah.
time, so I hadn't found someplace to go. So I went
Gosh.
to you know, my favorite motorcycle salesman, Jim Burgess with Black Hills Harley Davidson at the time, and they were associated with Special Olympics. So I got together with the Special Olympics team and just
Nice.
asked them. I says, you know, yes, they'll take our money. I said, great, but I don't want to have our money go to somebody that's just going to disappear in an administrative thing.
Right,
Nobody knows whether or not they
administrative
really donate except give money.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so, what's your story? And they said, well, first of all, there was no payroll, no administrative expenses. The board paid for everything out of their own pockets. And if
That's incredible.
if they needed to take the kids to an event, a Special Olympics event, they had to find other parents that would take 1 or 2 kids. They get a whole suite of people to, take enough kids someplace, and then they would pay the expenses out of their pocket for it, right?
Man.
I said,
Wow.
so what do you guys really need that we can show our people that they've actually done something, accomplished some
Yeah.
good here? We really need transportation. We could use a bus. So we bought them a bus with
yeah.
and
Sweet.
next thing you know, there's 5 times as many people in the program.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Then they need a gym, right? There was an abandoned gym that just hadn't had enough money for maintenance. That sort of thing was unusable. So
Uh-huh.
we gave them money to redo the gymnasium. So now they
No way.
pulls into it. But then the next thing was it continues to grow more and more kids for Special Olympics in Rapid City and the Black Hills. And so bocce ball turns out to be a real good thing for the kids, something everybody can do and catch on. And so when they worked out a deal with the city of Rapid City to get a pretty nice sized piece of property right at the busiest intersection in town that couldn't be developed for stuff ever since the flood of 72, because it used to be a mobile home court. A lot of people got washed away in a flood. And so it just sat there. So we helped start a bocce ball court there. So there are 8 bocce ball courts right there, open
Very
to
cool.
everybody. And the Special Olympics kids have priority. Anytime they want, they get to use
So neat.
those deals. And so, so then that brings, a tournament to town, statewide tournament. All of a sudden now that's increasing everybody's economic situation as well.
Domino effect.
So it
man.
just
Yeah.
grows and grows and grows. But the key to that, I think, is that we wanted to see that the money actually
Went to
did
work.
something,
Yep.
right? And so the kids are still using the bus. The gymnasium is still there, being used. And now, I drove by them last night. 8 bocce ball courts right there.
Nice.
Right? In the
That's
street.
great.
So,
Yeah.
I'll get to rambling off. So if I
No,
got
that's
too,
cool, man. Hey, you know, what's
that's an
one
awesome
of the
story.
underrated things too is that a lot of people going back to the stereotyping the motorcycle community, us, is the fact that our community is a very giving and generous community. They always show up to events to support, whether it's the police, the kids, whatever, Toys for Tots, whatever it is. I mean, I know that, living in Florida, we have a lot of things that happen this time of the year, man. And we have a ton of people constantly showing up and giving back to the community, which is something that's hardly ever talked about, right?
well, actually, yeah, you're right. But I think that image has changed a lot in the last 20 years as well. So you can just see it in the media. You can see it pretty much everywhere. And so, yeah, we started counting the first few years. I mean, way back in 1990, we built a house. The third house that Habitat for Humanity had built in South Dakota. We built the house out here during the rally with volunteers, right? Then moved it into town on a lot. Woman moved in there, and, family's still living in
That's
there,
cool,
right?
man.
So, yeah, so, it's just little things, but didn't get any attention and didn't think about getting any, press about it at that time. So you got to let people know all the time what's been done and who's done it.
Yeah.
And that's really what I think has made, a big deal. We called Rusty Wallace and thought, Rusty, why don't we do another, one more ride and have a Rusty Wallace ride? Rusty was all in, flew out here. He made a video, and we got a separate ride that works with Rusty. And I think last year we raised over $400,000 just on that ride.
Man.
They all went to the kids, right? Half of it went to the NASCAR Children's Foundation and half of it to the local Special Olympics.
Nice.
But, that's huge. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Rod,
more and more.
Rod, let
Just
me
keeps
ask you
coming.
this. Back in 1981, when you threw the first keg party, obviously a lot of fun. You got a chance to kind of be a part of that and enjoyed yourself. Now looking back, the 2024 August rally, right? Now, what is your typical day like when the rally happens? Like, because I think, the shows on like Discovery and all this stuff about Sturgis that I think everybody who's a motorcycle enthusiast always been curious, has watched, seen you in the show talking, things like that. But take us through, like, let's just go back to the most recent one of August. What's your typical day like?
Well, there's only 24 hours in a day, and all day long. We started off having some meetings in the morning. You got to catch a nap someplace, right? And so probably got 2-3 hours of sleep on my couch over here at the office, and then you start answering questions that somebody on the crew has about doing this or doing that. And you never know exactly what it is that has to happen. And then all day long, there's stuff going on. But, then you have appearances. So we have these rides that actually take me off the grounds, right? So I miss about 4 or 5 hours of the day by participating in the charity rides, come back and play catch up. So we have 11 bike shows on here that are there. I like to show up and just let people know that appreciate them having their bikes in the shows. Then we have the receptions going on in different places. I like to show up at the receptions and thank people for, being there as I can. Then the rock star will show up and so I like to just be present, I guess, for them when they get off the bus, say hi if I get the chance. And then there's by then it's already afternoon, and late afternoon, so you're kind of rushing for the VIP folks that want to have meet and greets with the artists, and that they got the banquet, the food kind of stuff for going on. And then So
You're juggling.
we have multiple stages. So you just there's issues that come up with all of those, and then where every once in a while lightning will strike a transformer or something, and all of a sudden part of the place is without power, right? So you got the electricians and the power company gets right after it, and then you got the show, and really I like to pick up a few minutes of each show at least if I can't see it, but you have people that you need to say hi to, and we host folks like you got there comes out the movie stars, those kind of guys that have some influence, and you need to make sure that they get properly taken care of when you get to say hi to them, so they met the guy that has something to do with the place.
It'd be cool to get President
Rod,
Trump out there.
Yeah. Rod, for our listeners, how young are you?
I'm 78.
78, man. I would have never thought. Damn.
Pegged you for, yeah.
Hey, listen, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. This young attorney, criminal defense attorney from back in the day, looking back at it now, did you ever think that your keg party in the Buffalo Chip would become the largest music festival, motorcycle festival in the world?
It's reminds me of an old country song that Jimmy Gilmer and the Fireballs used to do every night at the bar. It's like, I live one day at a time, right? And so did I think all of that? No, I didn't have a plan to end up anywhere, and I haven't ended up anywhere yet. We're still just getting rolling, right?
That's right.
So every day is a new day, and every day is different than the last day, and you're supposed to do everything you can to make it better.
Do you have any funny moments that kind of stick with you, that whether it was a long time ago or that you still kind of think about and it gives you a chuckle?
Oh, a funny moment? Always,
well, unexpected, funny, whatever you think is would be kind of cool story to tell that maybe people don't know.
I had a guy who owns a television, a series of television stations. His pastor wanted to meet Jelly Roll, right? And so I brought the pastor back to meet Jelly Roll, and just watched those two communicate, say hello and whatnot. And just listen to Jelly Roll say, churches haven't necessarily been good to me, right? Because I say fuck a lot. And the pastor says, but I'm modeling my church based upon your approach to life, right? Because, you're doing the right things.
That's right.
And, so I mean, you get pleasant experiences. I don't know if that was
No, that's a great story, man. That's a great one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Jelly Roll brought a bunch of convicted, I don't know if they're felons or what, but just inmates. He brought he visited a jail before a show, and this was in the last month, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But he visited. He got to spend.
It was
time
the
with
one
all
that
the
he was
guys.
in.
Yeah. So they play music and they sing in jail, and so he actually brought them out to their show, and so they had the warden and all these other guys with them. That was pretty wild.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Really cool.
Well, I believe that he makes an effort before every show to go to a reformatory if it's if there's one around with kids, troubled kids. He spreads that message, Don't give up.
Look at me.
You can do it.
Yep.
You can still make something happen with your life, right? And it's that positive message that he has that when we had hired him, I didn't know too much what to expect. Well, I went to a couple of shows that he did, and I never encountered anything like it, because I really felt like at the end of the show, everybody in the friggin' audience felt like he was their best friend, and they knew it, right? I mean, the relationship, the rapport he has with an audience, what is a personal level rather than a performance, right? Is how it comes across. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Nobody like that.
It is. Yep. Yeah, he bought a bunch of land recently and had this emotional thank you that he sent out to the world. He's a genuinely good dude.
For sure.
So over the years, you've added events like dirt racing, custom bike shows, and even boxing now. What new ideas do you have, or are you the most excited about for upcoming additions to the show?
Well,
If it's not going to spoil anything.
The best ones sometimes show up kind of late as a surprise, and you struggle to put them together and make them happen. And I don't know what those are. The things that we're working at, we're putting an irrigation system in an off-road racing track. We have this 3.4 miles
Nice.
along and around for those guys who race. And we're building a flat track, technical track, flat track for flat track racing that is probably about a third done right now. We'll, I think we'll finish the dirt work next week. And, but the truth be known is this, everybody says there's rallies starting from racing. I don't know if that's true, but most people don't really care about racing much, but it's part of motorcycling.
That's right.
It's part of being a daredevil, and everybody on a motorcycle is a daredevil, and you just have to pay attention or you get hurt.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mold down.
Right.
So anyway, we just like to do that stuff. And really, I don't know too many possessions that people have that they take more pride in than their motorcycle, right? I mean, the people that are customizing the motorcycles and riding these motorcycles around, man, they're proud of those things. And it's the same thing for racers or race cars. And, and the thing about racers is that most of those guys are younger guys as well.
That's
so
right.
Also, you encourage the young people for anything that they're there, and that rubs off on the rest of the world, right?
Agreed.
And so we just try and make that happen. Yep.
Yeah.
So we do that. That's one thing for sure we got going on. And then, we're going to be doing another bare knuckle fighting championship, and we'll probably see Conor McGregor here again. Here, and because he was so stoked. What an energetic, physically fit individual, right?
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. And again, nobody's dummy, right? Smart people. And, Dana White was here as well. The same kind of situation. Different people, but it's his stuff. So, so we'll have those things here going to be real fun and crowd pleasers, right?
That's right.
Other than that, we don't have our lineup done yet. Everybody says, well, you got next year figured out. No, that takes all freaking year to get done, right? But we're still doing it a couple of days before the rally is what it amounts to.
Yeah.
Keep on rolling. So
you've got 17 full-time employees you mentioned, and I'm just out of curiosity, are you contracting a lot of the work out, or are any of your guys or girls, familiar with a skid steer? Are they out working on the property at all, or are you strictly employing contractors for that development?
Well, we don't really have any contractors on here for what we do.
Yes,
I
knew it.
Pretty much.
That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty much. We're still broke. Well, we still need to we still need to figure out how to do it ourselves. And
very cool.
So, we're putting together a building that I took some people around and gave them a tour here again the other day, and they said, "Geez, you're kind of like a reclamation expert on the planet." Telling them, this used to be a shopping mall over in Spearfish, and when they, needed to tear it down and get rid of it so they could put up a McDonald's, we brought it over here and put it back together.
That's
right?
Cool.
Well, I already told you a little bit about the story about the stage. Yeah. And so, there's very little around here that are professional helped with other than the electrical.
So cool.
And
So cool.
you know, even our whole sewer system is stuff that we designed and gather ourselves and
Wow.
it got approved as having done it right. You know, so
It's impressive.
well, you know, there's nothing you can't do.
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
well, as you say, you can't, right?
Right.
It's just as simple as that. So we never took time to figure out all the problems. We're just having a party and know what we need in order to be able to have a better party next year.
That's right.
There's a little
That's
bit of
awesome.
change. People come and say, well, what's new this year, right? So they like to have something be new that they can see. That's
Yeah.
a
Right.
big deal. So yeah, we want to do that. So we're
Thanks, Rad.
just keep poking away.
That's awesome.
That's
Hey,
awesome.
you received the J.C. Pappy Hull Outstanding Achievement Award. In addition to, you also inducted into the Sturgis Hall of Fame. What do those honors mean to you? You know, just this kid who liked to party and throw keg parties, and now you're being like, you know, I don't think anybody can think of Buffalo Chip without thinking of you. So it's what does that mean to you personally? Just kind of like what the community and the biker community have you know, thought of you.
Oh, you know, you have to put it in perspective because honestly, for the first few years we were here, when the city decided to change attitudes about us being here, you know, we were the devil incarnate on the front page for 3 or 4 years, right? And it's hard to overcome all that stuff. So, you know, it's pleasant to see. It's an honor for everybody. It's not me. I mean, we have a crew here of right at 500 people during the event, and
Wow.
we bring those people. They volunteer to come and work, and they're not volunteers. We pay them, but we have these people come from around the planet, and we got a lot of people that come back every year to work here, just because, again, it isn't just because they're getting paid, but they like the people, they like being here,
Yeah.
they like that atmosphere.
Culture.
It's unique, and that's really what the deal is. So it's a tribute to everybody to do that. So I think a month or so ago, we were brought into the South Dakota Rock and Roll Hall of Fame kind of thing. And, you know, the people that are here that make this work, and we're down to 17 core people right now. And, you know, they're working their tails off to try and make sure everything gets done. And the list of things that we have to look at to get done, you know, it's the boring stuff, just like somebody got to fix that water leak, right?
Right.
You know, somebody got to put that thing back up that somebody ran over, you know. All of those kind of things all have to be done. So, yeah, we have 600 acres that we use for the campground. We got we got another piece of property. We have a little helicopter rally here with Bell Helicopter. So they have their
Cool.
the people that own their own helicopters. They fly in, and Bell shows them some new things and
That's
everything.
cool.
But, well, they got motorcycles at home in the garage, but
Right. They God bless.
Right.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, use that traffic, fly in, why not, right? So, well,
Yeah.
so we got, you know, some side property for that kind of stuff going on, doing their own landing space. And so really, we're just here trying to have a good time
That's
ourselves, right? We got to keep people happy. Hopefully.
That is cool.
Which one?
Well, all the way, the acreage is pretty, I mean, we have this property. First of all, the people that we have camping here are pretty generally very clean people.
Awesome.
So they don't leave a mess,
Nice.
right?
Good.
So,
Yep.
and that said, we
Yeah,
have
no
the
trace.
garbage crew goes around 12 hours a day, picking up the garbage, right? So we make it easy for people to put stuff into the trash, and we pick up the trash. So that makes a huge difference. But by, you know, the rally, the official rally's over on Sunday, but by Sunday night, this place is clean, right?
Man,
And
that's
so
amazing.
we got all of the, you know, we got maybe 3 weeks of people coming and camping and setting
Right.
up camp and doing everything people are going to do in that period of time. And 10 of those days are what somebody wants to paint as mayhem, right? And, you know, on the 10th day, that night, place is clean.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
Wow.
Got that thing working like a
Jeez.
well-oiled machine. That's right.
Well, it's a lot
Yeah.
different than my first couple of years.
I can imagine
I
with that one.
bet.
With no water, no bathrooms, no piping anywhere. It must have been a mess.
Well, everybody left, and, you know, before the rally was over, so I was the only guy out there trying to dig
Oh
out.
man,
All I
Yeah,
can't
I
even
can
imagine.
imagine that one. That's
You know,
funny.
we all tried to.
Yeah.
I tried to drag my kids into helping me. That didn't always work. So, yeah, it took a while, but then it picked up then.
Jeez. Rod, here's a fun one. I'm sure you've met countless characters from over the years. Who's one biker or attendee whose story or spirit really left a mark on you?
Well, there's several. I mean, you know, you just got everybody has a story. You know, it really one of the guest stories really is the Jelly Roll story that was actually going to be out there published for everybody because, you know, a lot of these people would
apologize to
have
interrupt you. I just wanna
stories
ask you
that
this
soon
question.
I'd
Like
be talking
from
about
your
them
first,
on the judge. But, you know, with Jelly Roll, he's right up front and using it to influence other people on what's going on. So,
rally to now this past rally of 2024, is there a few people that you've seen every single year through the years that are still doing this? Or is
not
there-
every,
not every.
not all three. We had two guys that had been here for, I want to say, it's either 35 or 36 consecutive years,
Wow.
right? I mean, a long time ago, he was before the rally, and the guy that was helping me said, you know, you need to go out and say hi to some of the people that are here. They really want to see the owner, right? Like it's a big deal.
Right.
Well, these guys
Like
are,
it's a big
these
deal.
guys, there's a slope of ground about this angle, right? And right by the road, and I stopped there and just to say hi. And the guys there, he's kind of setting up, and after we have a few words, well, you're Woody. You know what? You're the owner of this place, aren't you? He says, God, you know, let's say you go someplace for a couple of weeks, you come home, your wife's sleeping with your best friend. Well, I brought my best friend with me. Hey, come on.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, so that gentleman, and so he had said, you know, I love this place so much. I told my wife I want my ashes right here. And
Wow.
you know, you think, well, that's just crazy, right? So what happened? He's a veteran, and so this year he was in the Fort Meade Hospital, which is 1 mile away, and he was down to less than 100 pounds. His friends wouldn't got him because he wanted to be here no matter what, right?
Wow.
And the rally was, and he lived through the rally, and he went back to Fort Meade and passed away within a day or two.
Wow.
So you got people that's, like I said, there's magic in this
incredible.
friggin' ground out
There is,
here.
man.
Yeah.
There
Well,
is.
Just gets into people's hearts and souls, and he was one of the first. But yeah, we just have a number of folks like that. So
It's incredible.
it's just part of the blessing. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
That's insane. One more question. What's one of the kind of behind the scenes, and I know you're wrapped up juggling everything running around, but maybe what's something that's happened at potentially a larger scale that most people wouldn't believe happened at the chip? Maybe that's something that captures the energy and unpredictability of it all.
Wow. You know, the behind the scenes stuff, you know, I just don't know. I have something I can answer with you there, but when you talk about something just happening is unexpected that people aren't going to forget,
Yeah.
there's a couple of things, I guess, that come to mind. They're sort of associated, but what I was going to tell you was in August 3rd, in 2013, it was 11:30 at night, we were shooting a live concert by Kid Rock for Country Music Television, the CMT. We had two camera outfits sitting out in the middle of the crowd with the booms out there. People everywhere, right? Kid Rock is out there in the rain. We got started late with the show because we had a new sponsor put a sign on the roof. They didn't plug the holes where they put the sign. So we had water leaking down. We had to get up there in the middle of the storm and plug the holes to stop the leaks. We got all the stage crew hands out there with squeegees, squeegeeing off the stage. And where the rain wasn't getting because the roof sheltered it, getting it dried off with hair dryers, right? And I'm in the dressing room, first time really with Kid Rock, and he's facing like this, he's facing like that. He says, this is probably a quote too. He says, I don't know who I'd stand out in the rain for an hour and a half for to see, but I'm going to give those guys the best show I can, right? And so when we got to the point where we felt like it was safe to go out on the stage, it's still raining cats and dogs, right? And he gets out there and he's out on the thrust, and it's right at 11:30. And that platform we built for Pee Wee Herman 4 years before was where our photographer, Michael Lichter, very famous.
Of course, Michael Lichter, yeah.
Mike's on the thing, and he's up there shooting the camera and about ready to quit, just hitting the shutter like this. And he hit the shutter just as a quarter of a mile away, lightning struck the top of our water tower.
Wow, and caught it.
Whoa.
Lit everybody up. We got there's a photo there that Mike has. If you go on his website, you'll see it. You can see it on our website. But, I got a big blow up of it on the wall here, and we did a wall size blow up of it in the Motorcycles as Art exhibition. But it lit everybody up. There's not a shadow to be seen.
That's awesome,
so bright.
Man.
Oh, so and he's up there in his white suit with his hat flopped down because it's wet, right? You're in the show. So that's something that everybody remembers that it was around here. And
amazing.
CMT wouldn't run that footage in the TV show because they didn't want people to think that they were in danger.
Right.
So
that's
so
crazy.
anyway,
That stinks.
but on the other hand, you think about that happening earlier in 2005, we were doing a television show live for it was a series for Travel Network, and Kobe Keith was on the stage. Same deal. He was sponsored by Ford, and in the back of the stage there was a part of a Ford F-150 kind of sticking out, so on. And so we were there. He was just about to do a meet and greet. He stepped out, and that one raindrop hit a brand new cowboy hat. And instead of saying, no, we can't perform because the weather is bad, he looks up and he said, we got to get on stage right now. Turned around, went up there, got the band, got him on the stage. It started raining cats and dogs again. Wind was blowing 40 miles an hour. Part of that Ford F-150 blew off the friggin' back.
Wow.
Jeez.
Up, They did the whole thing. When the show was over, everybody was soaked to their shoulders, but they'd been packed in there for so long, so tightly, they were dry the rest of their body, right? It was great. And as soon as the show was over, it quit raining within like 2 minutes, right? And Toby gave every band member a $2,000 bonus on the spot for sticking with him.
That's cool.
During the rainstorm, right?
I like Toby Keith.
You talk about and you pick it on.
He's a great American, man, Toby Keith. I like him.
This guy's got backbone, and they were there for the
right.
people. They weren't there for themselves. They were there for the people, the audience. And that's really, I think, just part of our blessing. But everybody that we have here is that way. So, I mean, it's good. So that's my story.
All right, that's cool. Hey, one last question before we get to the fun speed round questions. If you could look back and tell your younger self one thing about this journey, what would it be?
Well, see if you get smarter to start with, and ask for somebody for advice about what you're doing. But and then at the same time, I'm not sure if we'd have done anything professionally along the way that we'd have the same magic and ambiance that we have here, that just by accidentally, gluing things together to do it, to pull it off.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
or I don't know. It seems like it would be nice to have a little bit more, knowledge about what you're doing.
Right,
A little bit
right.
more.
Yeah.
Seemed like there'd be a way. That would be the thing is, seek counsel, I think, is biblical. A wise man has many advisors. And so then that was part of our problem is just a one-man show here.
Gotcha. And look,
Yeah.
that's
Speaking
what's
of
amazing. It's like one man show, and look at it. It's like what a vision, Rod.
insane.
You really
Yep.
are, man. It's absolutely amazing. What a
So
vision.
that one-man show was a long time ago, because now,
yeah,
you know,
I get it. But
Mhm.
yep.
So
We got
speaking of
we'll
advice,
get to it.
Woody, what would you tell somebody who has never been to Sturgis and they decide they're going to go next year? What key advice would you bestow upon them?
Well, look forward to having a really good time. Figure out what what you're going to need and be. If you're coming out, no matter what, if you're coming out here, you need to be prepared for 109-degree temperature, which happens once every 10 years or so. Then it might happen that day, and it might rain 2 inches. And if it rains 2 inches, it might rain those 2 inches at the same time the wind's rolling 100 miles an hour, and it might only last 2 minutes. If you aren't ready for that,
Yep.
that's a
Not
problem.
going to be a fun time.
And hailstorms can be a real problem. So,
Yeah.
you look out for those things, but really you're just here to have a good time. So, relax. You're going to do someplace where nobody wants to do anything except enjoy the moment.
okay,
that's
awesome.
That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Or in
Yeah.
the of it.
Awesome advice,
And then
man.
last question before the speed round, where can people find you?
Oh, buffalochip.com.
Cool. All right. We'll make sure to add that in the show notes.
Yep.
All right, buddy. You made it through the podcast. Now we're gonna test your quickness here, man. So we're gonna have a little fun. We do the speed round at the end of all the podcasts, just to kind of get a goofy side of you, and some cool things that you might have done, and so on. So just whatever comes off your mind, just roll it out. So all right, we'll start it out. If your bike could talk, what's one thing it would nag you about?
I should stay upright more often.
All right, good. That's good. That's good. You still riding?
Absolutely.
Good man. Good man. What do you
yeah.
ride? What's your bike do you love to ride the most?
Well, I have 4 bikes. One of them is an off-road bike that I just got, and I haven't really ridden it yet. But it's so light and so nimble, and it rides so high. It's going to be a completely different experience.
Yeah.
Completely light.
Enduro or something.
And so I'm looking forward to using that here coming up. And then after that, let's see, I got my 99 lowrider, which has always
Nice.
been my favorite.
Nice.
I have a 2004 Fat Boy that's a real comfortable, soft, cushiony thing. I had a little cam work on it,
Yeah.
so it's got a little more oomph than it used to have,
Nice.
and that's pretty sweet. That used to be my loaner bike, but I took a liking to it after a while. And then, a couple years ago, Lloyd Greer customized an Indian and Indian chieftain.
Chieftain, nice.
Chief.
Man, I got to tell you, what took my initial ride the year 2 years ago, the initial ride, and then last year went to Robbie Knievel's memorial service in Butte, and you could get on that motorcycle and
It's a great bike.
speed limit can buy quite a little ways.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man, it's just like it's a dream. It rides so damn well, right? So smoothly.
Yeah.
So
Polaris did a great job with that bike for sure.
it's a deal. I mean, he just get up to 131 cubic engines
Wow.
of powers. We cruise across Montana. If nobody's looking, you're doing 100 plus, and Well, that it's
notice.
a sweetheart. It's a sweetheart, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
All right,
so
we'll go to the next one. What would be the absolute worst superpower to have while riding?
we don't deal with superpowers, you know. But the worst one, yeah, I don't know. I can think of what the good ones would be. That just have better vision and more sense about everything around you.
All
'Cause
right,
when you're
we'll
going
keep
along-
it at that. What is the best oh, I think you kind of answered this, but what is the best motorcycle you've ever owned or ridden? Is it the Chieftain or is it the 99 lowrider?
Hold on. Well, the Chieftain's a better motorcycle. That doesn't take away from the fondness of the 99 because that lowrider, I could ride that off the road. I could go chase the cows,
Right.
without having any issue at all.
Yep.
And, I just don't feel like I don't feel that same ability with, the Chieftain.
Of
It's
course.
a road
It's
warrior.
a cruiser. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. If motorcycles didn't exist, what weird hobby would you be known for?
God, I don't have any other hobbies, I've given up chasing things at the bars, and
That's funny. I love the honesty, man. That's so awesome.
so really this buffalo chick thing here and whatever it involves has become my life,
Awesome.
and I love it. I'm having fun doing it, and so I need to pay attention to business always, but it's fun. It's challenging. You got new people.
That's
The
right.
new people have new ideas, and it's fun.
Okay, cool.
So you ride free, you take risks.
That's
That's
right.
my motto.
That's right. All right. What's your guilty
free,
but
take
go-to
risks.
pleasure for alcoholic beverage? And if you don't drink, what's your go-to snack?
Well, I do drink, so
Okay.
still I want. And so I sample a fair number of different kinds of scotches,
Nice.
and I got hooked on Courvoisier a while back.
Lift that up a
You
little
know?
bit.
Yeah.
Lift it up
Yeah.
into Courvoisier.
Ooh,
Okay.
Courvoisier.
Courvoisier, yeah. So I still joke about stuff, but yeah, it's a fruit of the vine still, right?
All
So
right. Awesome.
It's-
Awesome.
pretty
Yeah.
well, brandy.
Okay. Next.
What about
quote.
scotch? What's your go-to or favorite scotch? I know people out there are curious.
My favorite what?
Scotch or bourbon?
Scotch.
Oh, scotch.
Whiskey.
The I don't know about having a favorite. It got changes from day
Yeah,
to
me
day. I
too.
got
All
some Balvenie here staring me in the
Yeah.
face right next to my Courvoisier.
All right.
Nice.
What's the most underrated piece of gear every rider should consider?
If you don't have cruise control on an older bike, you want to have that little level there. You have to,
yeah.
you ain't hold on to the throttle all the time.
Okay.
Right?
Good one. Good one. Yep.
Mhm.
If you could.
Yeah, just a little bitty gadget that is so convenient.
Makes a big
Very much.
difference.
Yeah, very much. All right. This is a little bit of a crazy question because you've been up on it. So the question is, if you can get up on stage and sing or jam with one band, who would it be?
Well,
To a man who does music festivals.
Yeah.
yeah, Dasher.
Dasher. Okay. That's an interesting one.
I told you I gave up the bars. I
Yeah,
didn't.
I know. Okay. Okay, good one for sure. All right, next one. If you could recommend one book, film, or documentary to every motorcycle enthusiast, what would it be?
The art of proficient motorcycling. Just the very basics. So many people get hurt in motorcycles because it just seems like there's a natural tendency to do absolutely the wrong thing in a pinch.
Right.
And
Mhm.
reading that book helped me avoid
Okay.
that. So when I start getting into something, I think about that book and I pull out of it.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. Okay. Best place you ever rode and why?
Well, Lolo Hot Springs, Lolo Pass, 77 miles of curves. Right at the very top of the hill, used to be a sign there. They got more sophisticated now, but used to be a sign there. It was just a wavy thing like this, 77 miles.
77 miles.
We were riding down along the Lochshaw River and it's Solway and heading down to Clearwater. That is that's a beautiful ride.
Okay.
I mean, there's lots of, you go through the Kit Carson National Forest, you know, come on, we just can't find better stuff. You know,
no
you
question.
fall into Silverton. Jeez. Holy
That
smokes.
whole world. I was in Sturgis in 2014 and stayed at the Chip in 14. That was, I think, Molly Crew, Collective Souls, ZZ Top was there that year, and I'm in Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas. It's insane. Best, some of the most beautiful places in our country, hands down. I think we talk about it on the show a lot that, you know, a lot of people leave this country to go see beauty, but it's only on the West Coast, upper West Coast. So,
well, you know, but don't swallow Black Hills short either, because there isn't anything like the Needles to look at. To be riding through the Needles, hit those tunnels on the thing. You know, the Old Mount Rushmore, Crazy Horse area out there, Devil's Tower over there. I mean, those are all beautiful, beautiful rides, unparalleled. Nobody else like that anyplace else in the world.
no question.
And the highways out here, I waffling kind of regal with a motorcyclist in mind. And that, I believe, could be the truth.
I agree for sure. All right, if you could time travel, which era would you visit and why?
Oh, tomorrow. You know, I like to know what's happening.
Okay. All right.
That's cool.
Yeah, you know, yeah, I don't want to go back into the past. I want to do the future,
All
right?
That's cool. You know, you're the
Right
first
on.
person who said that. Most people always go back to like the 40s, the 50s, the mecca of that whole transition, industrial revolution, you know? But that's cool that you said that. All right. Last day.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
well, I was just going to say, these are the best times.
Yeah, agreed. Last dinner ever, what would it be?
The what? Last dinner?
Last dinner ever, what would it be?
That's kind of like a last meal kind of thing. It brings up some pretty weird.
Dark vibes, man.
Weird vibes.
Well, this is now a definitely meal, right?
No. This is just a little. How about last dinner ever before you go to sleep? What would it be?
So, you know, there's some good filet mignon.
All right, nice.
And
Besides the One Gang Worldwide podcast, did you listen to any other podcasts? Like, do you listen to things out there? Anybody that interests you?
very little. So I can't give you any of
That's
any
okay.
of that.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, I pretty much work here, and I used to spend a lot of time listening to tapes while I was on the road. I'm not on the road much anymore. If I
Gotcha.
leave, it's to the airport, and off I go. So I don't listen to podcasts much.
You made it.
Like-
You made it through the speed round.
Hey, One Gang, we unfortunately lost our connection with Woody there. He dropped off, but we wanted to extend our deepest gratitude. He is a humble man with some incredible stories, and we are extremely grateful that he was able to join us today. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and we look forward to catching you next time. Take it easy.